Welcome back. Indeed. This time the tears flowed. I'd been confronted with the most horrific outcome that I'd been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Satoko. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. When Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet still I cried. And cried. Kei-chan, please just try to calm down. Rika-chan and Satoko, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. This music is so cool. What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you, get a hold of yourself. Please, please. Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. Well, that's a bit rude. This Shion killed them. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? Why kidnap someone and then kill them? Screw curses. Are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this? You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. Hey, Shion, please tell me, why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of Watanagashi? That's what I'd like to know. The fighting over the dam project is already over and done with. Haven't enough people been cursed already? Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, then say it now. I was incoherent at this point. Not just at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside of me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. I understand how you feel, Kei-chan. I really do. The dam wars ended a long time ago. Yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them had nothing to do with this, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed. So why? Why? That's what I'm asking you! I want to know that as much as anyone. Ha, ha. Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone. Listen, Oyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Oyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Watanagashi. They were cunning. They've been using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where they would get rid of 2 enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san. Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Satoko have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Satoko needed to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Satoko, you know. Why even her? Why? A silence fell between us. Blessed silence. Shion didn't answer for a while. Kei-chan, please, stop being mean. Hic. A sob. Was Shion crying? I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. When I heard that Takano-san and Tomitake-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of position I was in now. The four of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about that, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you? There was nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt. That's why I confessed everything to old man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the forbidden storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It was only a bit of exploration, that was all. Takano-san and Tomitake-san, who went in with us, were killed shortly afterwards. You know, at this point, I'm pretty sure I've read this same thing like 15 times. I know Takano-san and Tomitake-san died after we went into the forbidden ritual storehouse. You've told me repeatedly, every single episode. Oh. They met such miserable ends. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except old man Kimiyoshi who would help me. So, I asked him to save me. Old man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, if you're really sorry, Shion-chan, then you'd never be demoned away. He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him. Sob. Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mare's death. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, I let my emotions take over and go off at her. Keiichi is the most dense person on the planet. Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Again, I feel like we're not making progress. We're just reading the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over. Oh, my heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, don't forget, Keiichi Mayabara. Don't forget about the mayor on the morning after Watanagashi. He was told of Takano-san and Tomitake-san's deaths over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He'd only made it back just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Oishi-san said. When did you let the man know? Hick? Huh? I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but Shion, you told him, right? You told old man Kimiyoshi, the mayor. Yes. Hick. When did you let him know? Eh? I'd begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain it to me. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment? Kei-chan? Probably the best way to respond to that. What does that have to... Please answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so. There was a momentary silence. Then, after stammering a few times, she replied, I knew that he had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him. He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right? I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but... Kei-chan, what does that have to do with... Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans. I want to ask you straight. Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please give me one. Kei-chan, why are you asking that? Hick. Her sob pierced my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion. It was impossible. Impossible. The day the mayor disappeared, from dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him. Eh? That's... The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital all by himself without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you don't know what hospital he went to. So, you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? Hick. His train back was delayed by an accident and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So, there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say it. Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it and tell him there? If you didn't, then there wouldn't have been any time left. After the meeting was over, the mayor disappeared on his way home. Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response. Actually, with the meeting, You didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll say it more directly. You haven't been seen since we were at the library together. Kei-chan, Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after Watanagashi. The other end fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there. Oishi-san says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? Hick, 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 hick. Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong. Please, Shion, if something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Hick, hick, hick. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, if Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant... Then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could have only been right before he disappeared, or else afterward. Hick, hick, hoo, he 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 he. Oh god, it keeps going. Oh my god, it keeps going. That is crazy. I love it. Oh gosh, it's still going. Wow, she has a laugh on her. It's still going, it's still going. Oh gosh. Oh. Beep, beep, went the dial tone. Finally some action. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me. Yes! Action! Finally! Yes! Chapter is over! Woohoo! New tips! Oh, we got a trophy. All right. View the new tips. What do we got? From the scrapbook. The problem with twins. Well, that's a bit rude. This is not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onigafuchi village especially, the three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship built on the precarious balance of the three families must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife from things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, then they had to be culled. Ew. With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin, Shion, are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oryo, is sympathetic. Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and, as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Alright, tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back. Yes! Show that tattoo! In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. Get it out! From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Oriol's back as well. Yes, queen, get it out! Then, I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir Mion. I really want to see her back. Indeed. At the Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Reserve for the day. Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Clatter-clack. Heya, Kura-chan, you're the last one here. All the youngsters are here already. Excuse me, miss. Oishi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owned the Mahjong Parlor, and she shrewdly made herself scarce. Scarce? Scarce. She was used to this by now. Dang, that place is looking pretty packed. Oishi-san, good work today. What, were you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just done 3-player. Everyone sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlor were Oishi's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep. Thank you! Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already, it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment. The situation is not looking good. The chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the coming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Gifu police and give the missing persons case of the disappearance of the mayor and the others to the community division. That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him. All of our requests for warrants were turned down as well. I've even been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind, that we are. Incidentally, it looks like I'll be getting orders soon to go to training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. After that, I've even been told to take a paid vacation in Izu. Ina! Well, I suppose that ain't bad. Indeed. He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do. This always happens, but incidents are a lot like locking your keys in the car. Okay. The keys you need to unlock the door are always locked inside. Yes. For cars, you call JAF and they'll pry open your door. For incidents, Kuma-chan, show the map. Kumatani flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets. Are they breaking in? Now, I've been doing this job for a long time. I've got a lot of faith in my gut. But this could be the one time it was wrong, no? Anyone worried about their retirement money has until the count of 10 to get out of here. Yeah, bye. I want that money. Oishi began to count to 10 and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution. 9, 10. Ah, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much, is that it? Everyone laughed uproariously, cheering things up. Yeah, screw my family. I want everyone to go over their materials. Memorize the locations and blind spots of all the security cameras. Kuma-chan, you'll stand by in the command car. If something happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Komiyama-kun will head up Infiltration Team A. Atsushi-kun will lead Team B. Observation teams will set up at points 1 through 8. Bonchi-kun, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotations so HQ doesn't get wise. Now, the team on standby has the most important job, alright? If the section chief asks where I am, play dumb. Wah ha ha ha. I'll handle escorting our guest. I'll probably take him to the venue, so wait patiently, everyone. Wonder if he'll cave. Keiichi Maebara, that is. From what I've seen, we're set for tomorrow or the day after in that regard. It'll be easy. Intriguing. There's more progress. Oh, we read all the tips. There's more progress in these tips than there is in the actual story. It's ridiculous. Keiichi. Keiichi? Just leave him alone. His friends went missing. It must be really hard for him. Normally, my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Shouldn't Keiichi stay home from school for a while too? I think it would be safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what could happen, taking a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close school during such a dangerous situation? What do those teachers think our children are? Mum and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at that point I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date, myself. I really had no interest in anything. How can you not have interest in food? This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Keiichi, how are your studies going? You've gotten further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright? I didn't even feel like answering. Today was Thursday. Only 4 days had passed since the Watanagashi festival. Meanwhile, I feel like I've been here for 4 months. Such a short time, and yet now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. Stop talking about it. I can't stop talking about it. I don't care. This isn't somewhere we should be going, isn't it? Let's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building, even if you don't steal anything. Shion, now that you know they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika-chan's dance ends while we're messing around in here? I prattled on as I took the lock from Tomitake-san's hands and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on, let's go. Takano-san was fretting, but I pushed her away. Tomitake-san grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. What? Even so, I didn't care. How does one's shoulders drooping call a person an idiot? I have never seen that gesture in my life refer to calling someone an idiot. I pushed everyone further and further away. Rika-chan's dance was still going on, then at last her dance was brought to a close with roaring applause. I too, until my hands turned red, I clapped and I clapped. Ding dong. Isn't that Lena-chan? She's here because it's your usual meet-up time, isn't she? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet with Lena. Keiichi, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Lena. Good morning. We're going to school as a group starting today. So you can't be late. Ah, that's right. If we, the ones furthest away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us. I think I'm going to take some time off from school. Okay. Lena answered shortly, nodding. I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiichi-kun. So you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Why would you say that? Oh, and here. It's a notice they're sending around. Could you give it to your mum? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it. I took the notice. There were a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika-chan and Satoko, and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache. The police are looking as best they can too. They'll find them, for sure. Just be patient, okay? Lena said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe. Lena, you're not going to question me? Nope. Lena, you know, don't you? About that night, Do you mean when you snuck into the ritual storehouse? I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip, made up my mind, and nodded a little. So, it's all out in the open. Really, I shouldn't do bad things like that. Mi-chan was really mad. So she was upset. I suppose she would have been. I don't think she was angry about you sneaking in there, though. As much as about you hiding it from her. Maybe, Kei-chan, maybe you should have told her yourself and apologized. I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I'd hurt her badly. However, I hadn't realized that at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it. Lena, you're right. I never realize anything until you tell me. Keiichi-kun, hypothetically, if you had admitted you'd done something wrong right away and apologized to Mi-chan, I wonder if Rika-chan and Satoko-chan wouldn't have had to disappear. I couldn't answer right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Lena telling me right now, though, that I should have admitted to my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Lena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixedly into my own. Yeah, you're right. If I had admitted my crime sooner, then Rika-chan and Satoko, you're waffling, move on, wouldn't have had to die or disappear. Ow. Smack. The palm of Lena's hand slapped me in the cheek. I stood there unmoving, my head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all. I don't think that anyone has scolded you, Keiichi-kun, so I'll scold you in their place, okay? I pressed a hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, and quietly stared down at Lena's feet. Going somewhere you're not allowed to go was a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that? Uh-huh. Answer me with a yes. Keiichi-kun? Yes. Also, what's even worse, you didn't admit to having done something so bad. You should never do anything bad in the first place, but not admitting to it or apologizing for it is much, much worse. Yes, I was wrong. For a few moments, Lena stared at me, silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse. Then, finally, the tension in her face softened, and she smiled. Okay then, it's about time. I should be going. All right. Be sure to give the notice to your mum, okay? Also, warn her not to go out to pass it on after it gets dark. I bent down to pick up the notice which I dropped when she slapped me. The pages had come out of the clasp and were now making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hand stopped at a single, more light-hearted page with peaceful sentences dancing on it. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki's house if you want some. I want some homemade soy sauce! Yes! What is this? I picked up the page and scanned the rest of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita Prefecture. Why is it the Akita Prefecture? I'm confused. The Akita Prefecture. They had gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some of it to feel free to come over, is what it said. Soy sauce is the best, gimme some. As a PS, it said it arrived in barrels, and to please bring a 2-liter bottle or other container for it. 2 liters is not enough, give me the barrel. That's how it tied together. If you need some soy sauce, then you would go to the Sonozaki house. Lena, did you know all along? Yeah, I knew. Lena had already been suspicious of Mion as soon as she noticed that the big bottle of soy sauce was missing. I'm very slow. I entirely forgot about the whole big thing with the soy sauce. Naruhodo ne. Rika-chan had taken the bottle and gone to Mion's house and naruhodo ne. There she was erased. Ho ho! Rika-chan wasn't coming back. So Satoko called Mion's house since she knew where she had gone, and then Satoko got called there as well. That meeting on the day the mayor disappeared, didn't Oishi-san say that the 3 families participated in it? The 3 families would include the Sonozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, so her heir, Mion, frequently stood in for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him and invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was part of the Sonozaki family. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Angel Mort store managed by the Sonozaki family? Setting up an ambush for her there wouldn't have been any trouble at all. I'm going to Mion. I'll go apologize. I'm going to have her put an end to everything. Mion probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else. With that decided, there was no need for me to be lazing around here. I put on my shoes and slipped past Lena to exit the house, when she stopped me. And indeed, this is the perfect spot to end this week's episode. Well, we had the usual waffling, but the story has massively moved along in the last few minutes. I am excited. We're actually getting close to the end now. It's not, well, I don't know in the visual novel how long it's going to take, but hopefully not too far away now. Like, I know the end is coming. I'm familiar with this chapter. Anyway, come back next week. Let's find out what is really going on with the Sonozaki family and get some delicious soy sauce. I'll see you guys then. See ya.